Hey there, Heather Boyd Wire here.
I had a request from miniaturist artisan in the Wire Makers Club to make some flat wire dragonflies. We're using 18 and 16 gauge wire. I have flat pliers, cutters, I have looping pliers and small round nose pliers and a cone. So we're going to start with about 12 inches of the 18 gauge wire, and with our looping pliers we are just going to bend the wire and then bend it again to make the wings. So we're just going to make a nice little curve to make the first wing, and then bring the looping pliers to the other side and curve it around. You can measure this with a ruler if you like as well. So we're just going to bring it around. So we have the first two wings, and then we're going to loop it around again for the upper wings. Just curve it around and just smooth it with your finger to curve it up. Just keep wiggling it till it's perfect length, and then go to the other side and bring it around. You can make each wing anywhere from 3/4 to 1 inch. So we're going to bring it around. So there we have the 4 wings. You can adjust it so they're the same size, and then at the center we are going to bring the wire around. So that's our beginning point. So now we'll bend the wire out for the tail, and we'll get the ring cone, and we're going to bring the wire around. This is one of my preferred ways to make spirals. So we'll just curve it around, and then we're going to take the end and just make a little loop, pinch it so it's a little bit smaller, and then we're going to clip that end flush. Pinch it down so it's flat, and then we're going to collapse the spiral. And you could pinch it again with the flat pliers, make any little adjustments that you need. And for the head, we're going to take the looping pliers and just bring the wire around into a simple loop and clip it. We're going to pinch that down, and now you can hammer it with the steel block and your hammer. So we could just give it a little hammer like that, and then you can remove the metal. And if you don't have a sheet of metal, just gently hammer it, pushing out so you don't make little marks on your wire. So just go around, take your time with it, and just try to get it a little bit flat. Keep going around, flip it over, do the same on the other side. You could also use a rolling mill, that's my preferred method, or a pasta maker. So I actually put it through the rolling mill to flatten it out. It makes it more even kind of flattening effect. And then we just want to adjust it to push the pieces back in place. They can get a little bit distorted when you put it through the rolling mill, but like I said, I really like that nice smooth effect. So there's our simple dragonfly. And so now we're going to take 12 to 15 inches of the 18 gauge wire. We're forming the tail first, so we're going to start at the end of the tail, bring the wire around, and then we're going to just wiggle it back and forth to make a little wave type thing. Using the end of our small round nose pliers, we just want a little bit of a wave going up, and this is going to be the tail of the dragonfly. Then we'll flip it over, and we're going to do the same on the other side. So we're just going to bring it out and in. Like I said, just using the end of the round nose pliers. I really love these fine stainless steel round nose pliers. I will link up all my tools in the description below the video. I actually bought a pair like this 30 years ago at a hardware store, and our friend Amber was able to find them on Amazon. So you guys can get these tools as well. So we're just going to wiggle it back and forth, make a little wavy tail, and hopefully your little waves will match up. I decided to add one more little wave to make the tail a little bit longer. So you can make it as long as you like. We're just going to do the last little bit to match. And then after, we're going to form the wings. So there's the tail. You may have to adjust it a little bit to make it even. You can just go in with your round pliers to do those little adjustments. Straighten out the wire for the wings. And now we're going to form the wings. So bring the wire over and make them a little bit more of a diamond shape, a little less curved than in the first design. Bring the wire back, and we'll do one wing above the other, and then we're going to go to the other side. Do the same thing. You can measure them to be sure. I ended up doing a total of about 3/4 of an inch. So the bend would be at about 3/8 of an inch, sort of halfway. It's easier if you have a ruler handy to make them even. And we're going to bring it around. Once you have the first wings done, it's easier to do the second set to make them the same length. Make sure the middle area is a little bit wide, and then we're going to bring the other wing around so they're just stacked one on top of the other. And we'll go for the other side, bring it around, checking to make sure they're even. Bring the wire right around to the middle. And now we need to form the head. So we're going to bring that around with the looping pliers to form the head and clip it flush. Remember, we don't want any overlapping wires because we're going to flatten it. So now we're going to pinch that flat so there's no little pokey end. And now for this end, I tried a couple different ways. For the first one, I just took my fine round nose pliers and made a teeny little loop because I didn't want a sort of rough end, and then I clipped it flush. If you add beads to this after, you'll be able to hide that little loop at the end. So that's one way to finish it. And then I flattened it with the rolling mill, and then I have to adjust it so it's all stacked up how I want it. So this you can do by hand. You can use your flat pliers. You can use some nylon jaw pliers so you don't scratch the wire. We just want to adjust it back in place because, as I said, it does get a little bit distorted in the rolling mill. So go in with your tweezer nose pliers and pinch the wires in so they line up and it's nice and flat. Just wiggle it around a little bit if you need to with your pliers and your hands. So the second way to finish this is just to make one loop on top of the other to represent the head. And that way you'll have no ends that are kind of randomly stopped in the middle of the design. So I'm making 2 loops that are the exact same size. So they'll be stacked on top of the other. So we're going to bring those in, and then we're going to clip the ends flush on both sides. And you'll see when we flatten it, we have to make sure they're not stacked when we flatten it. Otherwise, they're going to break. So we don't need overlapping things when we actually flatten it. So you'll be able to separate it and then put it through the rolling mill like that. So I've done that, and now we have to wiggle it around so we can stack up those two loops for the head. So just keep wiggling it around with your thumb and your finger or with the pliers. Make sure those little gaps are closed. And just take your time, push the wires in so the heads are stacked together. And then you'll be able to put a jump ring through both of those and it'll hold together. So there's that style. Now for the last one, I'm using 15 inches of 16 gauge artistic wire. It's a bit thicker than the 18 gauge. You can also use 1.5 millimeter aluminum wire. The aluminum wire is much softer and very easy to work with. And we're going to bring this end into a spiral. This is another way to make spirals, starting at the middle and working your way out. So we're just going to bring that in to form a spiral. And then we're going to make a kind of wiggly tail. So just back and forth with the fine round nose pliers. And just keep making it as long as you like. And then I'm going to curve it out for the first wing. And get my looping pliers to bring it around and making these wings more rounded. Makes it look really whimsical when the wings are round. So just wiggle it around to the size you want and then hop over to the other side. And you can measure this with a ruler if you prefer. So now we're going to bring it around because we need 2 sets of wings. So bring it right around above the first wing, wiggle it around a bit and curve it with your finger to bring it up. And then the last one, bring it around with the looping pliers, curve it with your thumb to get it to the middle. And now we're going to make a loop for the head. So bring it around to the size that you want. And I'm going to make a spiral for the head. So we're just going to go in with the smaller round nose pliers and bring it in to form the spiral. Just bring it in slowly around and around. And then we're going to clip that end. These are the Xuron micro shear flush cutters. So we're going to give that a little clip and then we're going to pinch it down. Push it right in the center. So there we have the dragonfly with the spirals. And I decided the bottom spiral was too big, so I actually clipped it. I do this a lot when I want to make spirals smaller, so I just clipped out a little bit of it, went in with my round pliers and brought it in to close that little loop and just tighten up that little spiral. I just thought it would look more balanced with the bottom spiral being a little smaller. So there we go. It's ready to get flattened now. And I put it through the rolling mill, and now I'm just going to make those little adjustments to bring the wires closer together. I really love the look of the wire flattened in the rolling mill because it's nice and smooth. Some people prefer a hammered look with texture, so you can do this any way that you like. And there we have the other dragonfly and all 3 of them to compare them.
So thanks so much for watching the video. Give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for lots more wire art and jewelry making videos. And if you'd like to share photos of your wire art and jewelry, be sure to join the Wire Makers Club on Facebook. And if you'd like to check out my work on Etsy, my husband and I specialize in custom wedding cake toppers and funky jewelry. I also have a mailing list, so if you'd like to sign up below, I'll send you my Wire Art Essentials ebook. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you the next time.